This device promises you can play and manage your Game Boy cartridges on the PC. Let's take a look. Hi, I'm Shane R. Monroe, and today we've got a really neat little device to show you called the GB Operator. And this promises to allow you to take your various Game Boy cartridges, including Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and GBA, plug them into this device, into your computer, and play them super easy. No weird stuff, no dumping, nothing. Along with that, it also promises it'll let you back up and manage your save files to and from these cartridges. Sounds like a pretty good thing to me, but does it deliver? And how easy is it to use? A lot of products like these tend to be a little more complicated. They require strange hardware configurations. They require a little hacking knowledge. This is promising to be the easy turnkey solution. So let's take a look at this device in detail first, and then we'll show you the interface on the PC and we'll actually run some games for you. The GB Operator comes to us from a company named Epilogue. It comes to us in a pleasing but simple box. Not much to see here, but let's take a look on the inside. All right, we have a very nice thank you. I always like it when they added something special in there. A small instruction booklet, a standard USB-C cable, and of course the unit itself, which is small, USB-C plug on the back, cartridge slot on top, and of course you can take a look at the various electronics through the very neat little clear case. I like this. It's simple yet effective. Setting up the GB Operator is super easy. We just take it out of the box. It comes with a USB-C plug. You plug it in. It lights up, and your PC will then recognize it. Then it's merely a matter of plugging the cartridge that you're interested in playing, and all different types will fit. So we've managed to get them all in here, including even the weird ones, even though something like WarioWare Twisted probably is not going to work in this guy, and we'll show you more about that later. And there's nothing to remove. There's no buttons, switches, or knobs. You plug it in, and let's see what it looks like when we move to a direct feed right on the PC screen to see what's going on as we move these things in and out. All right, so after a brief download and install of the Epilogue software, all we have to do is run the software with the GB Operator plugged in. And here we go. Pretty straightforward, a clean, simple interface, high contrast, easy to read. Please insert a cartridge. Make sure the cartridge is properly inserted, the pins are clean, blah, blah, blah. All the things you would expect it to see. Along the top here, we have an icon that will show us the licensing and legal notices about the software and the version that we're running on, the Epilogue. Data play data and photos, which aren't available to us yet. I assume we have to plug in a cartridge before we would get that. So let's go ahead and take a standard Game Boy game. This would be Tetris, world-renowned Tetris. As soon as we plug it in, boom, we are now given a very nice looking screen. It shows us sort of a Japanese version of it, it looks like, although it calls it Tetris World Rev A. It's currently connected, it says. It's an official cartridge, and one of the features of this particular device is that it would let you know if you have a bootleg cartridge in your midst. In this case, it says no, and it doesn't say read-only cartridge. It's not lit. And of course, you get sort of a rundown. You'll see that play lit up, data lit up. We'll look at those in a minute. Gamepad controls configure, as well as keyboard controls view. Emulator settings and device settings are both shown as coming soon at the time of this video. So a lot of things that you might expect from an emulation playback may not be available, and we're going to take a look at that. If we hop over to the data tab, we now see a few more items: download game, download save, and upload save. So it says store the game data on your computer, creating a digital replica of your collection. Game files can be then used with your preferred emulator. All right, so if we hit start here, let's just see what happens. I mean, we've got one option available, download game. Let's see what happens. A folder called Backups on my desktop, and it says right down here, it's going to save Tetris World Rev A as a Game Boy file, .gb. And you could save it as a Game Boy Color file, okay? And we hit save. And we saw this flash green briefly, but that was it. So if we were to open that folder on our desktop, we would indeed see that inside there is a Game Boy file, Tetris World, 32 kilobytes. Great. There is no ability to save data or download or upload save data. So obviously this cartridge doesn't have that capability. So let's go ahead and change it out for something like, say, this Lego Island 2 Game Boy Color cartridge. Let's see what happens. All right, we also again get that it's an official cartridge. It is. It still says read only. Let's go to data. And here we go. Download, save, and upload save. If you look inside the cartridge, there's a battery in there, which of course eventually will go dead. So this does support some sort of save backup data that's protected by battery. So we're going to go ahead and download that and see what that looks like. Transfer a duplicate of your save data from the cartridge to your computer. You can then back up your save file or edit it with an external program. Cheats, hacks, all that sort of stuff. Transfer your save to the computer, replace the battery, and then transfer it back to the cartridge safely. So they're sort of recommending you do that. Let's go ahead and hit start and see what that looks like. Save this in my backups folder, and it's called the Game Boy Save File, or .sav. If you're emulator friendly, you know that .sav is indeed a save file. And that was it. I think we're done. Let's go take a look. And indeed, in backups, we do indeed show a save file that's 8 kilobytes. And of course, we could always upload that save if we wanted to put it back onto the cartridge after we've changed the battery or something of that nature. So that's pretty neat. So let's go ahead. This is a Game Boy Color file. So let's go ahead and download this one to our computer. Save it to backups. This time it is going to save it again as a GB file. This is not a Game Boy. This is a Game Boy Color game, I should say. So we might want to go ahead and change this to GBC. I'm guessing that whether you choose to do so or not, any self-respecting emulator is going to be able to pick it up and play it correctly. So let's go ahead and save that. This is taking a little bit longer, a little more data in there. And if we hop back to our backups, we now have our backup file as well as our save, and our backup looks like a megabyte for the Game Boy Color file. All right, well, let's extend this one more time over to, say, a Game Boy. Let's do a Game Boy Advance game this time, Pac-Man Collection. Again, official cartridge. Nothing new here, everything that we expect to see. We go to data. There's no way to download a save, so there's no save data on here. So let's just go ahead and download the game and make ourselves a copy of it locally. We're going to go ahead and save it in backups. This time it's saving it as a GBA file by default, and you can't choose anything different really. So let's go ahead and save that. And as you can see, as we're progressing up in the evolution of Game Boy games, it's taking longer and longer to dump the games. And of course, it depends on how big the game is, all that good stuff. But if we go back to look at our backups, we will indeed see that the Game Boy collection is here. And it is 4 megabytes. All right, well, just for fun, let's go ahead and pull this out, and let's look at something weird, like say this WarioWare Twisted. It's still just another Game Boy Advance cartridge, so it does definitely show up. It says it's an official cartridge. We do have the ability to download the save, as well as upload fresh saves. Let's go ahead and download the save again, just to sort of see. And we do have an existing save already here. Let's go ahead and save here. And that was it. Wow, very small, 32 kilobytes, so not a big deal. And let's go ahead and download that game. And this is a lot slower, so this is obviously a much bigger game. And as you can see, there's a green light when there's operations going on with one of the cartridges, whether it's downloading a game or otherwise involved with the save and load process. So let this go ahead and finish. So usage number one of this, of course, would be to archive and back up your own cartridges and your cartridge save files, which, listen, some of these games are 20, 30 years old, and you may have save files that you would really, really like to have copies of, maybe something from your childhood. That would be really neat. Okay, so we're all done with that. So what would happen if you put in, say, a flash cartridge, like a Game Boy Flash cartridge? Let's stick that guy in there. Unknown title, and it just sits here and flickers back and forth. So We have no idea what that is, and that's okay. So the one thing that I can't show you right now that I'm going to try to do a supplemental follow-up video for you is what happens if you stick a bootleg cartridge in here. So one of the things that this product advertises is the ability to determine whether a game is a bootleg or not. And I know you're thinking, what, bootleg cartridges? That's nuts. I wish that were the case. eBay is absolutely loaded with fake, expensive Game Boy Advance cartridges, and unfortunately, some of them look really, really good, and it's very hard to tell. Hopefully, by putting in one of these cartridges, you will see something to the effect that it is not an official cartridge. That might give you some methodology of getting your money back on eBay, something of that nature. So all sorts of good stuff in here for us to do. So now that we've looked at the backup piece of the equation, how do you back it up? How do you back up your saves? How do you copy the saves back and forth? Now it's time for us to actually play the game. So before we do that, I am going to get a controller. I'm going to get an Elite 2 controller. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. So this is an Xbox controller. I have this already set up on my computer, so it's all ready to go. It's paired. We're not going to go through anything weird here, but I would like to be able to play my Game Boy games with this controller, as well as maybe being able to play it with the keyboard. But let's be honest, these Game Boy games require 2 buttons. It doesn't require 12 buttons, 2 analog sticks, all that good stuff. So technically speaking, with the arrow keys, you could probably do just fine with this. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like. So this is the Pac-Man collection for Game Boy Advance. This is one of my favorites. I love Pac-Man arranged so very much. So let's go ahead and take a look down here at the gamepad controls. So this is showing your input options. In this case, I have an X input controller. It doesn't say Xbox controller, but it should be good enough for what we're looking for. And there's keys rebinding. So we're going to go ahead and rebind these keys by pushing the buttons A, B, up, left, down, right, left bumper, right bumper, start, and select. Okay, so key rebinding works pretty good, at least it appears to. And if we push the buttons on here, we can see what they show up as. And this one's kind of look backwards, but we'll make do. All right, so that's kind of nice. That works pretty well, providing it works inside the game anyway. So let's look at the keyboard controls. We have arrows for the D-pads, return for the start button, backspace for select, A and S for right trigger and left trigger. A and B button is X and Z. That should be pretty comfortable to play. So let's go ahead and launch this guy up and see what we're talking about here. Is it really that easy to just plug in a cartridge and press launch? All right, I'm going to go ahead and crank the volume up a little bit here, even though GBA does not have good audio. And you're only hearing it through my microphone. I apologize. Trust me, you're not missing a whole lot with Game Boy Advance sound anyway. All right, so I'm going to use my controller and see how this goes. And Pac-Man arranged. Me love it long time. All right. This looks pretty good. Well, the controls work as advertised. Oops. All right, so what about the keyboard? Let me go over to my keyboard and try it out. That's interesting. My keys aren't working. Maybe I have to click in the window. Hang on. There we go. Okay. Actually, you know what? For Pac-Man, I think I might prefer to play with the keyboard. I want to continue. It's so crazy. There we go. Wrong button. Here we go. Crap. Hey, this plays great. Listen, I'm a huge fan of this. I can sit here and play this all day long. All right, so how do we get out of here? It says press escape, and you're out. Wow, that's kind of painless. All right, so as you saw, when I plugged the cartridge in, let me go ahead and take this controller out of the way. When I plug the cartridge, take the cartridge out, the screen goes away, of course. And then when you plug the new cartridge in, it's just like a console at this point. And you hit launch. This is actually pretty cool too, Tron 2.0. And then, of course, if you just pull it out, you probably shouldn't. You should probably exit the emulation first, but it's not like it was reading or writing from this thing, right? So who cares? Okay, so that's actually pretty neat. So we saw what Game Boy Advance games look like. How about we take a look at Tetris. The Infinite Tetris. I'm actually going to mute the audio for this because I believe that tune may indeed get me a copyright hit. And once again, you'll notice that it fired right up. And I'm going to use the gamepad for this. I would really like to have the sound on, but I'm just concerned about the copyright. But as you can see, it plays fine. I'll throw another Game Boy cartridge in that you guys can hear the audio on. But yeah, it's what you imagine it. It's not green screen, nor are there any means it appears that to be able to change what the colors are, right? So on a lot of these emulators, you can simulate sort of a green color, all that sort of thing. But in this case, it looks like you're pretty much stuck with the standard gray palette. Now, I'm sure that there will be emulator options later on to change these colors or let you set them to something that you might want. I know my friend Chris is going to be making fun of me for playing Tetris so poorly, but I'm trying to talk at the same time I'm doing this, and it looks like it works fine. So what you saw were games that I've already previously played on this as I was working my way up to doing this video. What you may not have seen is what it takes to do the first run of a game. So let me plug in Activision Anthology, which I have not yet run on here. You'll notice it took a few seconds for the picture to come up. It was probably hitting a database. I haven't tried it offline, but I'm guessing that that's probably what's happening. And now if I go to launch the game, let's see what happens. Up here you see something that says loading game. And we both know what this is actually doing, right? It's actually copying this game down to the hard drive. So it's doing that data save game right now to download the game before it starts playing it, which is to be expected. You're not going to play it directly off the cartridge. But there you go. And I can put the sound back on because I'm not going to get myself hit for this. But there you go, Activision Anthology. And boy, oh boy, these looked better on the smaller screen, huh? Great title, by the way, if you don't have this for the GBA. All right, and of course, if you had guessed properly, if we take the game out, put it back in and launch it, it launches instantly because the ROM is already on the computer. If you'd like to prove that out using a tool such as the amazing Everything tool, if you search for .gba, then you will see that inside of a folder called Roaming Epilogue Operator Archives, you will see various GBA games listed by some sort of a GUID, right? So this is the cache. This is how you're not having to download the cartridge each and every time to play the game. So it's caching these Game Boy titles. So you could simply go in here and rename this to whatever you wanted instead of doing a straight download. But that's okay. I mean, we sort of expected something like that. Let's go ahead and rerun this. I mean, I would expect it to cache for you. All right. So that's pretty neat. So the only other thing that we haven't really done is look at a Game Boy Color title. So let's go ahead. I've only got one of these, and I apologize that it's sort of a lame game. Lego Island 2. But it is a Game Boy Color game, and we've seen a GBA, and we've seen a Game Boy Advance game, and we've seen a Game Boy game. Let's see what this color looks like. And of course, I have already run this. That's why it was so quick to boot. And you can see this is indeed a Game Boy Color game. And bless you if you want to sit and watch this game play. I'm afraid I do not. So now here's something different. Let me mute that music. So I just tried to quit, but I got a pop-up this time. Do you want to overwrite the current save to your cartridge? Now this is pretty damn cool. So this game has a game save which was brought down when the game was first run. So if I'd already had a game on here at the time, a saved game, then it would have copied the save game down and I would have been able to play it here in the emulator. As I leave the emulator, it's asking me if I'd like to write the current save back to the cartridge. So literally, this is almost like a perfect session state for if you're on the go and playing your Game Boy Color game or your battery backed up game, and then you go play it on your PC, your progress will be preserved between sessions. That's actually pretty good. I'm going to hit discard though. So, I mean, that's pretty much all there is to see here. You plug the game in, you hit launch, and that's it. I mean, it can't be any easier than that. And quite frankly, I think that it's pretty neat. Now, I know a lot of my viewers are going to be saying, Shane, but listen, I can do all of this with ROMs. I can do this with a flash cartridge on a real piece of hardware. Why would I want this? What's the purpose of this? Well, this is very turnkey. This is something that pretty much anybody can use. And you know, a lot of younger folks are getting into classic retro gaming. Something like this really takes some of the sting out of having to manipulate your own save files and doing all that other crazy stuff. And who knows, honestly, where this software may go. Yeah, I mean, it's very basic right now. There's not a lot of emulator or device settings or anything of that nature. You can't go in and change your palettes. But hey, listen, it's still pretty neat for what it is. And for 50 bucks, you get a nice little piece of hardware, you get a decent piece of software. Will it continue to get updates later? It's hard to say. But you know, one thing that we could do, now that we've sort of talked about the product, what it does, how it works, and it appears to work very, very well, let's take a look at some of the more undocumented features, shall we? So one thing that might be interesting to see is, what about a game like Pokemon Red? So what's the big deal about Pokemon Red? It's just a Game Boy game, right? It's not a Game Boy Color game. It's not a GBA game. It's not a regular, you know, it's a regular Game Boy game. So let's put that guy in. And check this out. Super Game Boy Enhanced. Very interesting. So the Super Game Boy was a cartridge adapter for the Super Nintendo that let you plug Game Boy games into your Super Nintendo and play them on your big screen. But what really made it interesting is Nintendo went the extra mile and enhanced certain titles like Pokemon Red to look better when you're playing it on a Super NES via the Super Game Boy adapter. What does that mean? Well, it's easier to just show you. Let's launch it. All right, so we're launching it up here. We got some standard copyright stuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure the sound is off. Nintendo doesn't like their stuff being listened to. But wait a minute, this doesn't look like a standard Game Boy game. It's got color. How much color? Wow, I mean, this doesn't even really look like a Game Boy game anymore, and yet it really is. So this is taking advantage of some of the predefined color palettes that Super Nintendo, the game adapter, the Super Game Boy adapter, allowed you to see. So it actually does enhance the games. Now, it doesn't make the graphics any better, but it does do certain things to certain cartridges that definitely improve the quality of the game. And that's sort of an undocumented thing that I would think people would really be interested in knowing that this particular device and the emulator can do. So I thought that was sort of a neat thing. All right, so for the remainder of this video, I would like to take you on a little tour of the Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy Advance celebrated its 20th anniversary this year in June or July. The date escapes me. But the Game Boy Advance, listen, a lot of people are they're sort of on the fence about the whole Game Boy Advance thing. Technically speaking, the Game Boy Advance was actually more powerful than a Super Nintendo. That's crazy. But there were a lot of things about these games that folks didn't care for. But I'm a huge Game Boy Advance fan, and I would like to talk to you about the Game Boy Advance, and then using this particular package and a direct feed right here on the video, I'm going to play some of my favorite Game Boy Advance games. So if you're just here to look at this particular product, you're probably okay. If you would like to go ahead and stop the video, please like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, hit the bell, you know what to do. You can go ahead and do that. But I would recommend you stick around. I've got some really good video talking about, this is a modified Game Boy Advance with a beautiful backlit screen, with a complete screen replacement. It's really, really neat, and I'm going to show you that device and a whole lot more in the rest of the video coming up, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite Game Boy Advance games to celebrate GBA's 20th anniversary. So again, if you're taking off now, thank you so much for watching. If you're going to stick around, I'll see you in the next segment. The Game Boy Advance is a 32-bit handheld game console released by Nintendo in Japan on March 21st, 2001, and in America on June 11th, 2001. This video marking the 20th anniversary of the device. The GBA has a 16.8 MHz ARM7 TMDI processor and features 32 kilobytes of internal memory, 256 kilobytes of external memory, and 96 kilobytes of VRAM. It is powered by 2 AA batteries on the OG model or rechargeable lithium-ion batteries on the newer models. The original Game Boy Advance features a 240 by 160 pixel 2.9-inch TFT color LCD screen that supports the display of 512 colors in character mode or 32,768 colors in bitmap mode. The OG Game Boy Advance featured no front or backlight, making it rather difficult to see without a direct light source. The GBA shown here is the AGS 001, released in 2003, and features a front-lit display, while newer AGS 101 models, released in 2005, sported a backlit screen display. The original style GBA shown here has been modified with an IPS backlit LCD screen that features 10 levels of brightness. Audio for the GBA is provided by a dual DAC with stereo sound and is universally panned for being rather poor audio quality, largely due to the low sound rates often used by developers for digital samples. The speaker on the GBA didn't help the cause either. For controls, the GBA features an 8-way control pad, 2 face action buttons, 2 bumper buttons, and the obligatory start and select buttons. Volume sliders provided for audio control and a hard power switch for turning the machine on and off. The GBA's cartridge port, along with the ability to plug in games, was also used for some specialized hardware like the e-reader and the Play-In Media Player expansion pack. The last port on the Game Boy Advance is the Serial I/O port, which provided system linking capabilities, along with some other devices like the wireless adapter and worm camera. There are over 1,500 games for the Game Boy Advance, and when you take into account the library of Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, a GBA owner has a library of over 3,200 titles to choose from. The GBA Game Pack could store up to 32 megabytes, and many games use that full spec, including Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. There are 64 megabyte carts for the GBA, but those used memory bank switching, and those were limited to Game Boy Advance video releases. While we're on the subject, this is a good time to talk about this rather interesting experiment in media playback known as Game Boy Advance Video. Created by GBA developer Majesco Entertainment, these cartridges provided no interactive game, but rather movies and television episodic content that appealed to the audience of the handheld. There were a lot of Cartoon Network IP released on 4-episode cartridges, along with Pokemon, Dragon Ball GT, Disney, and some Nickelodeon content. These video carts provided heavily, overly compressed video and audio, which makes sense when you're shoving a 90-minute video into 32 megabytes of storage, even at smaller resolutions. The 64 megabyte carts came in the form of 2 full movie packs, one featuring Shrek and Shrek 2, the other featuring Shrek and Shark Tale. These films appeared as single movie carts as well, and it's worth noting that there are quality improvements with the single pack editions over the dual pack versions. The price of admission for these were $10 for the episodic TV packs, $20 for a movie pack, and a whopping $30 for the double movie packs. Still, to keep your kids quiet in the car for 3 hours might be worth every penny. This technology was taken to the hobbyist community with the Play-In and Movie Player, complete with software that allowed power users to compress their own video. Here's me compressing a little House MD. A crazy time for digital media. The GBA is often called the portable SNES because it shares some graphic capabilities to scale and rotate graphics quickly, a signature of both systems. Aside from the poor audio chipset, the GBA actually outranks the SNES in all the specifications, using the power of the internals to simulate 3D processing effects and software rather than expensive add-on chips that SNES had to use. A strange tale. If you want more, I'll put up a link to a great video comparing the two. Despite the fact that, as usual, many of Nintendo's competitors, such as the Atari Lynx, the Sega Nomad, and TurboGrafx-16 were far superior handhelds, Nintendo went on to move nearly 82 million Game Boy Advances by the time it was discontinued on May 15, 2010. To this day, I have a soft spot for the GBA as I became a Nintendo fan once I was able to actually get a lit model of the device with the GBA SP. The Game Boy Advance continues to enjoy a renaissance period along with other classic game systems with unmodified OG systems going for $80 to $100, screen replacement units like this one here for $165 to $200, and GBA SPs going from $90 to $200 depending on the model, color, and theme. With mature flash cartridges like this Easy Flash, coupled with readily available ROM images for GBA, the Game Boy Advance makes a great portable system that still, 20 years later, has a lot to offer.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the final segment of the video where we're going to be playing game after game after game here on the GB operator on our PC. And let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and full screen this guy. So I didn't really show it in the other video, but you can scale while you're playing the game. You can scale, and it sort of tries to maintain an aspect ratio. But we're just going to go ahead and zoom it up, and let's just start playing some games. I went out shopping today. I bought new Game Boy Color games. I bought new Game Boy games. I have a ton of Game Boy Advance games to play, and I got some recommendations from some friends on what I should be looking for. So let's go ahead and get started with looking at some games. Let's start off with a standard Game Boy game, and this is Quarth, which is apparently sort of a spaceship version of Tetris. Now, I have not played this in great detail, but let's take a look. Hopefully, those of you who are emulation buffs would be able to compare this with the current emulator that you're using. And if you're just a fan of the hardware, let's go ahead and turn my headphones down a little bit. I just got myself blared out. If you're a fan of actual hardware, hopefully you'll have an opportunity to see how this fares. We're going to be burning through these games pretty quick because I have so many to look at. So I'm going to play enough of this. I'm going to be playing with the keyboard. And let's take a look. Now remember, a lot of these games I haven't played. In fact, I just got it today. So it would appear we are looking to build. Okay. Probably not that, though. Okay. Probably should add a tutorial here, huh? Okay, here we go. I'm going to be doing something quick. No instructions? Oh, there we go. Whew! That was close. Okay, so I guess I'm supposed to be making boxes here, huh? Perfect. Okay, we can make boxes. No problem. Okay, so they can't have any sort of... Perfect. So they just have to be perfect boxes. With no extra shapes. Excellent, okay. I can do this. Maybe not get too excitable. Oops. Alright. Well, this is cool. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure I'd figure it out after time. So anyway, this is a standard Game Boy game. Playing on the emulator. And again, I'm using the keyboard. Ah, I'm not that clever. Okay, there's Quarth. Let's move on to another game. Alright, so let's move to a Game Boy Color game. This time we're going to look at one of my favorite games, Klax. I played a lot of this on the Atari Lynx. Big fan, and as you can see, we got nice color, little raster colors going there. Out to our buddies from Digital Eclipse. Big fan of theirs. So Klax is yet another puzzle type game. We'll go ahead and start easy. You must get 3 Klax. Klax is 3 tiles of the same color in a row. And so we have the colors dropping. We catch it and we can drop them and even stack them. For example, if we want the blue, get rid of the blue, get rid of the green, get rid of the blue. There we go. Get rid of the red. And you can throw them back up if you don't want them. Oh, missed that one. Let's see, we can get these 2 guys. All right, good deal. And you can tell the sort of over-digitized sound effects, they're all 8-bit sound effects, and instead of using like discrete sound, they used a lot of digital audio. And it really, you can really hear it happening here. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to a Game Boy Advance game. All right, Konami Arcade Advanced. And you can see I haven't played this one yet, or I did actually, but I cleared the cache in the previous video. So let's take a look. Huge fan of any sort of classic arcade games. I have a couple more of those to show you. But this one got a lot of play. This is actually, I believe, my original cartridge I had since the beginning. This, of course, has several different games, including some real great fan favorites like Gyrus and Time Pilot. And, of course, they've been formatted to fit the more square screen versus the tape mode, if you will. Sorry, I'm not used to playing this with the keyboard. I'm working my way through it. Played a lot of this on the Commodore 64 as well. Another great game port from there. Although this is really good. I mean, you can't argue with Digital Eclipse's conversions. They're amazing. A little bonus guy here. Get my all right. And we can go back to the main menu. And I could look at a ton of these. I'm a huge Time Pilot fan. I love Time Pilot. Great stuff. This one's a little harder to play with this is a lot better to play with the actual controller versus playing with the keyboard. Just doesn't quite feel right with the keyboard. But this is one of those games where they simulate this 8-way scrolling very, very well. This is the sort of thing that was usually done with hardware, and they're doing it essentially with sprites and all sorts of other things. I can't play this with the keyboard, folks, but you get the idea. And I'm not going to look at every game on here, but just to give you a representation. Pull that cartridge out. This is kind of fun. This really is sort of like playing with a console system. Let's go back to a regular old standard Game Boy game. And I was told this was a good one here. Kwirk. Now you can see this is pretty good. This one isn't apparently in their database. There's no artwork, there's no description, and they actually ask you to submit cartridge information, which by the way I did for this game. And unfortunately, it's pretty much just here's what you need to send us in an email. Send us artwork and data and we'll add it to our database. So it's not a very refined process. There's only a couple that I've seen that aren't in the database, but this was one, and I think it's useful to see what that looks like. Doesn't stop you from playing the game, of course, though, which is great. And so I have no idea what I'm doing here either, so I better stick with easy. I did play this for just a couple of minutes. So let's take a look. So this is a puzzle-solving game. Your idea is to get to the door. Oop, that's not going to work out now, is it? To get to the exit with the least amount of steps. All right, and the least amount of time. These work great on little portable handheld systems. Maybe not necessarily the greatest game to be playing on a computer, but still pretty impressive. Oh, I just screwed myself over. All right, so fortunately you can restart and redo the level once you realize you've made a mistake. And this is probably not going to work out either. No. I'd say I was smart. So one thing that you don't know is that you can actually push these down. Listen, don't try to make up the rules as you go. Just try everything. But these are neat little games to play. I mean, this would be a great little game to even play like on a I think I've already screwed this one up. To play on a cell phone, right? I mean, this would be I'd play this on a cell phone. And of course, you could probably do it in. Remember, this is in easy mode, folks. Okay, so you get the idea. But that's fun. That's a nice little game. Let's move ourselves over to a Game Boy Color game. Another game I was recommended was Crazy Castle 3. And let's take a look. Looney Tunes. Probably get me copyright hit. 8-bit graphics. Okay, there's already too much reading for me. At least they tried to give you some sort of a backstory when you're trying to play these things. Okay, so, alright, so it looks like level 1, phase 1, level 1, stage 1. Garden. Okay, so pick up keys. Oh, there's Daffy. Okay, I pushed a weight on him. Some keys to get. There's another weight. I wonder if I'm supposed to push that weight and push that on somebody else. Okay, well, I'm assuming I can go in here. Okay, there's a key. Okay. Another key. This tune sounds familiar. Can I walk off the screen? Nope. Okay. This seems kind of easy. How do I get up there? Can I jump or something? There's no jumping going on. I'm not sure exactly what I'm supposed to be doing here. I've got key. Oh, wait a minute. Up. What's it? Aha! Bingo. More keys. I'm assuming I have enough keys to open doors here. I've got 8 keys. Something happened. It's all excitable now. Okay, well, gather keys, open doors. I'm assuming it gets a little more complicated than that. And we do have a password there to skip levels. That's how we had save games in the past. All right, now we have a few more characters. Little Daffy. There's a bomb. More keys. Can I drop this bomb? Nice. Okay, well, hey, this could be a lot of fun. All right, we don't want to spend all of our time on one game, but that looks pretty good. Game Boy Color game. Let's move to a Game Boy Advance game, Scrabble Blast. Oh, these games are like crack to me, man. And I haven't ran this one yet. Well, I did before the great cache destruction of 2021. Okay. So this is a make as many words as you can in the least amount of time. There's 2 players, game link support, all that good stuff. I'm obviously not going to cover that. We'll do the action mode version. There's a bunch of different versions. And the idea, of course, is to make words as fast as you can and score big points. Well, I probably just ruined that one. No, who knew that was a word? All right. Let's see. Oops. Let's see. A-H-A-R. Okay. Clark. Oop. Wait a minute. I just did. Okay, there we go. All right. So, of course, you want to use words with higher letters, like X would be great. No, can't do sex in here, huh? Too bad. Tux. I wonder if that's considered an abbreviation, but it gave it to me anyway. I can do wag. Wage, that's even better. Dang it. Stop hitting that. Alright. Been a while since I've done this. Q. Dang it. Should be playing with a controller. Maim. Nope, so sorry. Let's see. How about, I don't know. New. No, not gonna go, huh? Lure, nothing. Dang it. All right, you get the idea. Listen, I'll sit and play this all day if you let me. It's a good game, though. All right, let's see what else we got in here. I've got some more Game Boy games. Let's move on to Fortified Zone. This is another one that was recommended to me. And, of course, you see I've already popped it in, so you can tell what I've already thrown in and what I haven't. I only plugged this in to make sure that it worked. Okay, that was kind of interesting. New game. Mission 1. Okay. I can shoot. I can run around. Seems kind of Zelda-like. I assume this is a bridge? No? Okay. These look like spy. Oh, okay, I see. I got it now. I'm slow. All right. I kill you before you kill me. Sort of more like a Wolfenstein. Oh, no, 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 no. More like a Wolfenstein, the original Castle Wolfenstein is kind of like this. Oh, dead. Okay, that's kind of cool. That's fun. We'll look at that one another time. But hey, listen, there's so much to see and do here. How about another Game Boy Color game? And we will look at some nice... Hey, wait a minute. That game did not read. I think I had trouble with this one earlier. Ah, here's another one. These are used games I picked up from a thrift store, so a gaming store. So, yeah, I haven't cleaned the contacts or done any of that good stuff. Here's another game that is not in their catalog. I see I have some submissions to do. More Digital Eclipse. You know this is going to rock. Moon Patrol and Spy Hunter. So you can shoot and jump. Yeah, yeah. There we go. This is pretty good. Oh, crap. The button's confused. This is great. I love Moon Patrol. This is pretty good, too. I mean, 8-bit conversion style. I mean, Commodore 64 version. I don't know if the Commodore 64 version looks as good as this does. It's good. Can't play these stupid games all day. Oh, crap. Do we need to see Spy Hunter 2? I mean, normally I wouldn't do that, but... Let's see, what do I need to do to get back here? The start button's not doing it. Pause, back. I guess the easy way to do it would be just go back in and relaunch it. Alright, let's do that real quick. I've got a soft spot for Spy Hunter. No. Spy Hunter, thank you. Oh, geez. Up, plus, this isn't going to work out well. There's a lot of instructions. Low and high. How do I shift? Oh, there we go. Ah! Oh, jeez. Playing this with a keyboard is kind of wonk. All right, here we go. Get off the road. Get out of my unit. Oh, you're not supposed to kill the civilians. Ugh. That's really cool. They actually have the explosion sound from the arcade game. Low gear. High gear. Oop. This is actually really decent. Oh, what happened to him? Some of the sound effects are really good. Oh, crap, spike wheels. They did that pretty good, too. Oh. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Listen, again, I can play these stupid games all day long. All right, what else do we got here? So that was a Game Boy Color. It's time for us to look at a Game Boy Advance game. Hey, let's do something weird. Let's see here. I already looked at the Pac-Man collection. Let's see what the Cartoon Network. Let's see what these video game cartridges. I'm sorry, the video cartridges. Remember this whole thing? I talked about it in the last segment. For those of you who skipped it, there was this weird fascination with putting highly compressed cartoons onto Game Boy cartridges for kids to watch, like in the car. And so this is one of them, and I've already downloaded the thing. Believe me, when you hit launch for the first time on one of these are like 64 gigabyte cartridges, or megabyte cartridges rather. Slip of the tongue there. And it takes a long time to pre-cache. Fortunately, I've already done this one. So let's see what this might look like on here. It's a crazy time period. Like as I was saying in the other video, it's just really interesting that this became such a thing. So this actually contains 4 Cartoon Network episodes. Right, so I'm going to select one, and then you got some fast forward, rewind, brightness controls, right? So you can make it brighter, make it darker. I mean, I don't know how you make it darker if you didn't have a backlit screen, but then you can skip ahead chapters. And this is what kids were looking at. This is what we had before you had Netflix on your phone. How about that, huh? The audio actually sounds better than the picture looks, I think. All right. It's always fun to look at those weird things. All right, let's go. Let's bring ourselves back to Game Boy. And here we have Revenge of the Gator Pinball, another recommendation for me. Dun, 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 dun. Why do I know this tune? Very familiar. Probably get me copyright hit. Okay, 1 player, 2 players, A, B. We'll just go with 1 player. And, oh, controls are... Oops, hang on. Oh, geez. So it's... Oh, I see what they're doing. So if this was on a Game Boy, this would be left on the D-pad, which would be in your left hand. And this would be... Oh, geez. I'm going to have to play this backwards. Okay, all right, we'll make do. If I get the ball out of here. Jeez, maybe I just crisscross my... Oh, dang it. Oh, you see how... This is how fun is this. All right, I'm going to crisscross my hands here. Maybe that'll work. Okay, hang on a second. Well, listen. Let's see how this works. Okay, better already. At least I feel like I'm doing something. As many of you, I'm a huge sucker for digital pinball. This is working better. This is cool. Oh, bonus stage. Nice. This is the Zen pinball of 8-bit days in black and white. So much for my bonus, huh? It's pretty impressive, like, for just a Game Boy title. The table mechanics seem fairly complex. It's amazing they were able to do so much with so little. Nowadays, it's sort of the other way around. Ugh. Come on. Gulp. All right, well. Boop, 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 boop. Enough of that. All right, I've got one more color Game Boy game to look at. I will look at... we're going to look at that... I told you we'd look at that WarioWare Twisted, which is a Game Boy Advance game, and then I've got one more regular classic Game Boy game to look at. So let's go ahead and we'll... you know what? We just did a Game Boy game. Let's do Game Boy Color next. Kind of keep the fun moving here. Game & Watch Gallery. SGB Enhanced. Did you guys see that? Boop. Ah, this one also has save state data. So this one is also SGBA Enhanced, much like the Pokemon Red we saw earlier. So that's kind of cool. So we should be seeing some color, and we do. Of course, this is a Game Boy Color game, so you'd expect it to be color, but it's hard to know what there actually is new here. All right. Let's take a look here. Okay. So it looks like we have a bunch of Game & Watch games. Okay. And so you can do easy, modern, or classic. So let's take a look at the classic here. Okay, so this is exactly like the old days. Hang on a second. It's been a while since I've played this one. What am I doing here? All right, maybe this wasn't the right thing to do. I'll get out of here. What's one that I have played? Go back? How do I go back? Nope. Oh, there we go. Let's see if I remember this one. Oh, wrong button. But I'll tell you what, having these buttons on the keyboard is definitely... All right, let's go back to Classic Easy. Okay, I kind of remember this now. Ah, jeez. Timing is terrible. Whatever. Okay, we get the idea. All right, let's see what the modern version looks like. Ah, jeez, wrong buttons. Jeez. Sorry about this, folks. Yeah, this isn't working out as well as it could have. Wait, this is the modern one? What did I miss? I don't know what I'm doing here. I haven't done these in a long time. It's weird. This sort of looks like the other one. All right. I've had enough of this. You can see that it works. Okay. So let's take a look at this WarioWare Twisted. This is one of those games that use the cartridge itself as a sort of a gyroscope or an accelerometer that you can actually tell when you've turned the game around. And so in some emulators, you can actually use or remap the buttons on the Game Boy Advance to simulate a circular motion, right? Because you're supposed to twist this thing to play the games. And so because there are no emulator settings, and if you look at the controls are not per game. So in fact, this game is really not playable. Even though it will launch, it will download, it will bring down the data, it does not work. It's not playable. And for those of you who are using flash cards, there is a hacked ROM edition that does the deed. But if you were using any other regular emulator and not this pre-built-in one, then you would have the ability to twist. And so they're telling us how to twist. And so we would be selecting the game here, but unfortunately we could play this to some extent, but we can't twist to choose the game mode. And if you use the L and R, that doesn't work either. And if I actually am picking up the GB operator right now and trying to twist the cartridge, and I'm afraid it's just not working. So that is a game that this does not play, which is too bad. If the emulator was a little bit more robust and there were some options, maybe we could do that. All right, last but not least is a game that was recommended also by a friend of mine. This is another one that I had trouble getting to read earlier. Lock and Chase. I've been told this is a great game, and so let's take a look at that. Got a little tearing there. I wonder if the tearing is in the original game too. All right, let me see what we're doing here. Okay, so we got, looks like what we have is a little Pac-Man style stuff here. Okay. Looks like a cop chasing me. I'm assuming, oh, here we go, a little guy in the middle. Okay, cool, speed me up. Nice, nice, nice. Just assuming we're supposed to eat all these, or whatever. Okay, cool, all right, I'm in. I know what I'm doing here. Kinda. Okay, so now we have a scrolling screen edition. Always makes it a little harder to see the bad guy if they're possibly off the screen. Oh, there's more than one. How fun. And the buttons, oh, okay. So the buttons will let you set doors, sort of like, reminds me a little bit of Ladybug, where you can sort of control doors. And it looks like you can only use, there we go. Ah, I missed it. Okay. To keep them out, that's cool. This is a cool game. I dig this. Yeah, use like Ladybug, you could set doors behind you to sort of trap guys in and keep you eating. It's very nice. This is a cool little game. And I'm screwed. All right. Well, that's really neat. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it. I've given you almost 30 minutes of gameplay. We will be doing other videos with this guy once the software matures, and maybe we'll have an opportunity to look at some of these emulator and device settings. And as the hardware advances, as the software advances, I'm sure we'll have more videos. Please, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If there's a game you'd like me to try, if I have it or I can get a hold of it, I'll give it a try for you. Other than that, I think that'll do it. Again, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that little bell, get notifications, and you'll have more videos just like this one waiting for you to watch. I am Shane R. Monroe, and as always, thank you so much for watching. It means the world to us. Take care.